fifth grade, it's Mrs. Stafford here. This is a video where we're going to be going over 6.2 in Origo, common fractions, reviewing addition strategies, same denominators. So in this assignment, we're going to be going over different strategies to find the same denominators in addition. If you have any questions whenever we're going through this, make sure to circle the number or the problem you're having an issue with, and then maybe write a little question next to it so you can remember it. Then when we have our Google Meet meeting, you can ask the question then, or if you want to send a message to Miss Karleskint, I know that she would love to help you out. So let's go ahead and get started. So our first step in here, each of these large squares shows one whole. Divide and shade the squares to show 4/3. So what's our first step? Well, we know that we need to divide these into threes because look, our denominator is 3. So we'll divide these two squares into thirds. Okay, and it wants us to shade them to show 4/3. So here we'll go, here's our first third, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, which is a whole. So we've got our whole done. And then we have one more. So there's our 4/3. Okay, complete the equation to show the amount that is shaded and the amount that is not shaded. Okay, so what they want us to do is add these shaded parts plus these parts. So we know that we have 4/3 shaded. What's not shaded? 2/3, because there's two pieces out of these thirds. All right, so what is 4/3 plus 2/3? Well, our denominators stay the same, and then 4 plus 2 is 6. So that shows us that these two fractions equal the whole, because then 2/3 equals the whole 2. All right, so when you add common fractions with the same denominator, what do you notice about the denominator? What do you notice about the numerator? Well, whenever we're adding fractions, we know that we never ever add the denominator. We keep those the same. We only add the numerator. So whenever we see common fractions that we're adding, we know the denominator is going to stay the same. And we know the numerator is going to change. Okay, there we go. So Ashley down here, let's look at her. So Ashley knows a different way to make 2. She shows her thinking on a number line. So what Ashley did was she looked at these two holes and she decided that she wanted to do a different shading. So it looks like here, so we've got our number line divided into thirds. Look, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So she shaded in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thirds right there. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5 thirds. So she shaded in 5 thirds at first. We only shaded in 4 thirds. And then to get to the whole 2 squares up here, she added what? 1 more third. And we know that this is true because 5 thirds that she shaded plus the 1/3 she didn't shade gets us 6 thirds, which is 2 whole squares. So Ashley used this number line to solve it. What common fractions does she add and how do you know? Well, we showed that right here. And what mixed number did she start with? Well, we know that the mixed number that she would have would be 2, because whenever we need to change an improper fraction to a mixed number or a whole number, we need to figure out how many times 3 would go into 6. So how many times does 3 go into 6? 2 times. And that's our mixed number or our whole number since there isn't a fraction left over. All right, let's move down to our step up. Remember that if you have any questions about any of this, go ahead and write it down here so that you remember what your question is. And then you can ask Ms. Karleskint or you can wait till the Google Meet and we can talk about it then. All righty. So write fractions to complete true equations. The fractions in each equation should have the same denominators. You can use the number line to help. All right, so we've got a number line here. Now I know this looks kind of weird, so let me explain what's happening. So right here on the top, we have 1, 2, 3 little tick marks on the top. That's what we're gonna use for the top here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are fourths up here, and we're gonna use this top of the number line for these equations if you want. And the bottom one is divided into thirds because we've got 1, 2, 3. So for all the thirds, okay? So I know it looks kind of funky, but just remember that the top is for the fourths and the bottom is for the thirds. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write 2 fractions so that it equals 5/4. And we're going to use the number line here to show how we're going to get to 5/4. Let's see. So I think, what do I need to get to? I need to get to 5/4. So let's count. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and 5/4. So I need to get to here. So I think I'll start with here. So what's that? 1/4, 2/4. That's 2/4. It's all right. 2/4. And then how many do I need to get to 5/4? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3/4. So that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be figuring out what common fractions you can add to get to this number. So I did 2/4 and 3/4. Now you might have a different answer. You might want to do 4/4 and 1/4. That could work. So that's what you're going to do for all of these. Now, just to clarify about the thirds down here, I'm going to go ahead and work out this problem since it's got a mixed number and these are both improper fractions. So let me get my blue. Okay, so I need to get to 2 and 2/3. Well, let's look at our number line. Here's 2. Then I'm going to go 2 more little spaces. Remember, it's not this tick mark, it's this one. If you want to do that, that might help. So 2 and 1/3, 2/3. So that's 2 and 2/3. So what do I want to add? Well, I could do, I think I'm going to do 5/3. So let's do 5/3. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3. So I'm going to go from 0 to here. And that is 5/3. So that's my first one. 5/3. All right. Then how many do I need to get here? Well, let's see. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Oop, and what's 3/3? It's also a 1. So let's see. 3 plus 5 is 8. So those are 8/3. But I want to make sure that this is the right answer for this one because I'm not done yet. I need to check this. So let's see what this would be as an improper fraction. Now, Miss Karleskint taught you guys a little trick on how to change mixed numbers to improper fractions. So what we do is we take the 3 to the 2 and multiply, which is 6. Then we take the 6, okay, and we add it plus 2. So what's 6 plus 2? It's 8. And then our denominator is always 3. So that shows me that this is correct. So always make sure that you're checking if you have like a mixed number here and you have improper fractions here, just double check to make sure that your math is right. Alrighty, so let's go to the next one. Alrighty, here's our next section. Okay, write the total amount of ingredients as a common fraction or mixed number and show your thinking. So what it wants you to do is it wants you to look at these three recipes. All right, and we're only going to be working with certain parts of the recipe, so you need to pay close attention to what it's asking for. So here it wants to know how many cups, because look, that's what our answer is going to be in cups. How many cups do we have of oil, flour, and canned corn if we mixed all those together? So let's look at our recipe. So for oil, we have 1/4 cup. So we write 1/4. And then for flour, let's see. Oh, flour is 3/4. And then we have canned corn. We need, 1/4 of canned corn. So we're going to add all of those little parts together. Oh, and all of our denominators are the same, so we don't need to change any of the denominators. So we're going to add. So we know that it's going to be 4. So 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So we have 5/4. But I'm going to change it to a mixed number. You can leave it as 5/4 as a common fraction, or you can change it to a mixed number, and that's what I'm going to do. So I know that when I have a denominator, or I'm sorry, when I have a numerator that's bigger than the denominator, that there's going to be at least a whole. So I know that there's 4/4 is in there, so I know that that's one whole. When I take 4 out of 5/4, I have 1/4 left. Because if we have, look, 5/4, and we take out the whole, the 4 over 4, we have 1/4 left over. So 1 1/4. Okay? Now you can change it to the mixed number, or you can leave it as the common fraction. Any other ideas there is totally fine. So for cornmeal, milk, and oil, you're going to be using this one. Okay, you're going to be using the corn muffin recipe. For apple oatmeal, this part is that one. And then look, these two, you're going to pull the ingredients from this recipe here. Don't get these mixed up, because both of these have apple in them, and they all three have flour. So remember that you're going to be choosing these and those from that. Okay, let's move down to the bottom. All right, now the bottom is a little bit tricky, but it's really easy once you get the hang of it, once you know what you're doing. So hang in there. Alrighty. In a magic square, the numbers in each row, column, and diagonal have the same total, which is called the magic number. So what it's saying is that this section, all of these sections here, and all of these sections, they all are going to be the same total. And what does it mean when you say total? It's addition. Let's remember that. Addition. So we're going to be adding. This is a fraction magic square. The fractions in each square have the same denominators, so they all have thirds. It's all thirds. Figure out and write the magic number, then write fractions to complete each square. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these fractions, because look, each fraction can only be used once. So once you use it in here, you got to cross it out because you can't use it again. So what it's saying is it wants us to fill in these little squares with these fractions one time. Okay, so let's see. I know that the horizontal, the vertical, and the diagonal ones are all the same. So since I have 3 fractions here, I can figure out what the magic number is by adding these 3 together. And if you need to get a scratch piece of paper, that's fine, because you're going to have to be adding a lot of different numbers together. So we'll do 8 thirds plus 5 thirds and plus 2 thirds to figure out what our magic number is. So we know that our denominator is going to stay the same. So 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 plus 2 is 15. So 15 thirds is my magic number. Okay, now what's my next step? Well, since I have 2 fractions here for this little square, I think I'm going to use these 2 fractions to add and see what missing number can be here. Because remember, I need the 3 fractions that are here to be 15 over 3 to be the magic number. So let's see what we have so far. So we've got 7 thirds plus 5 thirds. Let's see what we have. So we know that 7 plus 5 is 12. So 12 and 3. All right, so now what do we need to get to add to this to get to 15 thirds? Well, we know that the bottom's going to be 3, because look, all of our fractions are thirds. So let's see, I think we would need a 3. We would need a 3 on top to get to 15. So let's see. Oh, there it is. 3 over 3. Let's see if 3 over 3 will get us to 15 thirds. So 12 plus 3 is 15 thirds. That's the right answer. So the 3 over 3 goes here. So 3 thirds, and we'll cross it out because that's now used. So 3 over 3. Oh, and look here. Now we've got 2 fractions here, and we can add these together to figure out what's going to be going here. So let's do 8 over 3 plus 3 thirds to see what we're missing. Okay. And we know that that equals 8 plus 3 is 11 over 3. So now we need to figure out what we need to add to 11 to have 15 thirds. Okay. So let's see. Well, we need to have a 4 to get to 15. So, oh, 4 right there, 4 thirds, because plus 4 thirds equals 15 thirds. And that's our magic number. So 4 thirds goes here. Okay. So just remember that these 3 added together are 15 thirds. These 3 added together are 15 thirds. And these 3 added together are 15 thirds. That's the trick you got to remember. Now, I would try this part next, because that way I can use these 2 numbers to figure out what's missing in the middle. Okay. Now, I know that this is a little bit confusing, so just do your best. And then whenever we have our Google Meets, we can talk about this equation if you'd like to. Or again, if you want to ask Ms. Karleskint right now, you can shoot her a message. I know that she would love to help you out any way she can. But that was our 6.2 common fractions reviewing addition strategies. Have a good day.